foolish mortals.
Hello there. Are you insane? Get out of here!
Remain seated with your seatbelt fastened.
Right, off you go.
Welcome to Average Joe Orlando. Welcome to Average Joe Orlando, reporting for KMV Travel. I'm Joe.
And I'm Kelly.
And today we're going to be discussing Disneyland Paris. This episode of Average Joe Orlando is sponsored by KMV Travel, a travel agency that helps families of all shapes and sizes plan personalized vacations and create unforgettable memories. No matter where you're traveling, to your favorite theme park, aboard a cruise, on an all-inclusive getaway, or beyond, the dedicated advisors at KMV Travel will provide personalized travel guidance and unmatched service at no additional cost to you. To learn more and start planning your vacation with expert guidance, visit kmvtravel.com/Joe. So Disneyland Paris, let's discuss it. So you've been there.
Yes.
Yeah, and I've been there quite a few times now.
Yeah.
It kind of has an interesting history to it. So I think maybe we'll talk about a little bit about the history and like what it looks like today and like where it's going, because there's a lot to know since it's not operated like a typical park. If you're like used to Disney World and you go there, things are going to be a little bit different.
Definitely.
Yeah, so there are 2 parks there on the property and 7 hotels. It did open in 1992. A lot of people ask me, "Oh, Euro Disney," and I'm like, that's what it was called when it opened, but it has been changed over since. Now it is called Disneyland Paris, and like I said, it has the whole like downtown Disney section called the Disney Village, and it's going through a lot of refurbishments too. So kind of interesting, Disneyland Paris wasn't originally owned or operated by Disney. They didn't own the majority, and recently in the past few years they bought it back. So Disneyland Paris is kind of going through, I like to think of it as a renaissance right now, and it's really being like refurbed and rehabbed, and a lot of love putting into it recently, because a lot of people would be like, oh, I've heard that's the worst one. It is not. It's pretty great. I think definitely it's known for its shows mostly.
Definitely.
Its entertainment is probably like the park that you go to for Disney entertainment. But right now they're really kind of building onto their theming and their lands and their rides, and there's a lot happening. So there's the main park, the Disneyland Park, and then there is the other park, the Walt Disney Studios Park, which is being converted over to Disney Adventure World sometime in 2026. We don't have a set deadline. And then there are 7 hotels also on property. So when Disneyland opened, fun fact, it opened with all their hotels that they currently have. However, it wasn't very busy and it wasn't very popular, so a lot of them sat empty for the first few years. Now they're all full, and they have been redone, and they're going through a big rehab also with the parks. So I know you stayed over at the Disneyland Hotel, which was recently rehabbed.
Yes.
And that's right at the front of the park too. I don't think you could stay anywhere closer at any Disney hotel ever.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Miracosta?
Oh yeah, I stayed there.
Yeah.
Maybe the hotel I stayed at, Tokyo Disney Sea. Yeah, that was literally in the park. You're right. I did have the park outside. That's closer.
Yeah, a little bit closer.
A little bit closer, but Disneyland Hotel in Paris is pretty close too.
It's the closest you can get in Disneyland Paris.
Yes.
You do have a special entrance right into the Disneyland. And it's when we were staying there, it was actually the time where they were only allowing those resort guests to be in that hotel, because it was brand new. So that's kind of like your Grand Floridian or your Grand Californian of this area. So there's several different restaurants that are in it, character dining, there's lounges, there's a spa, there's a club level. So really kind of like all the bells and whistles, and all of the rooms are beautiful.
Yeah.
We were in a standard room, and it was still like one huge for Europe. We were like, oh my gosh,
so much space.
What do we do with the space? But really just beautifully done, especially after all the renovations that they made.
Yeah, and I know there are certain rooms that you could even get park view rooms, so you could watch the fireworks from your balcony and literally watch people walking down Main Street from your room. Like, how unique is that? Yeah,
it's a really beautiful resort just outside too. So if you have it in your budget, I totally recommend it. But if you don't, there are still some really good other options.
And I've stayed at 2 of the other ones. So I stayed at the Hotel New York, the Art of Marvel. So this opened as Hotel New York, and now they put a Marvel spin on it. And I could say we are not giant Marvel fans. We know them. Thor's probably the favorite just because that's the name of my dog, just because it was ironic. But this hotel was amazing. So we stayed there, I think on my last trip it was, and they refurbed it all to more of a Marvel theme. All the rooms have been completely gutted, completely updated, very sleek, very modern, but also like with the good Disney touch on it. I really liked it. So it didn't feel like I was staying in a super, like, I wasn't obviously like a standard hotel room. It was a nice looking hotel room. And this was more middle of the road budget, and still came with all the same perks. So you still got that early park admission, still walking distance, so everything in this area was walking. You walk through the Disney Village to get there. Right outside the security gate you go through, which was nice. And they had 2 hotels on, 2 restaurants on property. They had special meet and greets with characters just for hotel guests, and then they had the Skyline Lounge, which was really cool. I believe that you even tried that out when you came by and got to bar hop at that one.
That one was a really fun one. We liked that one a lot. We said the next time that we go, we'll stay there.
I recommend it, yeah.
Yeah, we loved the look of it. I think it's very much, if you are a Marvel fan, you definitely just stay there. But even if you're not, like you said, it's not like, there's the Hulk, like, in the middle of your...
It was the art of Marvel. So it's more like touches of art featuring Marvel characters, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
No, I will stay there again 100%. My first time that I stayed on property, I stayed at Sequoia Lodge, which is in the lake right next to the property, so it's all in the same walking distance. And this reminded me very much of the Wilderness Lodge. Kind of had the same look and feel, however, a little more dated. It is currently going through a massive overhaul. This is the next one that they have allotted to be kind of refurbed and redone, but really fun over there. And then Newport Bay is right next to that. And this is very, to me, Yacht and Beach Club. It was kind of fun. I kept calling it, Yacht and Beach. This one. And I was like, oh, wait, no, this is just like kind of what they're modeled after. But kind of in their moderate, more 3 to 4 star categories will be like the Hotel New York, Sequoia, and Newport Bay.
Yeah, and I think especially when Sequoia does get that, goes through this refurbishment, it's going to be closer to the caliber of what we see kind of with the Hotel New York and even Newport Bay. Newport Bay it's getting a little bit of love too over there, which is nice to see. But Sequoia Lodge definitely is one that a lot of people go to, but it's showing its age a little bit. So
definitely over there. It was definitely felt a little bit more. I'm like, okay, this one definitely needs a refurb, but it was nice. It still had all the perks to it. I could still walk to the park or take the bus if you want. Obviously, I think walking is much easier. Just like it was only a 15-minute walk or a 15-minute bus ride. So I'd rather just go out there. And you're walking
through property
too.
So
you're never off property, which is nice. You just go through the security and then you're right there at Disney Village, stopping at Earl of Sandwich every day as I did. And Disney Village right now is going through a whole rehab too, and they're getting a lot more stuff over there, which is really nice.
I will say though, as we're talking about this and we're saying like all of this stuff is getting refurbished, it doesn't feel like it's not like everywhere you turn there is
walls.
Construction. When we were there, it was obviously going through this as well, but we didn't really feel the impact of it. So if you're concerned about that, it's not really. I wouldn't be like.
They're definitely doing it all very like strategically in phases, and I've been there almost, I think, every year since 2023, and every year I've noticed like different things. I go and I'm like, oh no, this is done. Oh no, this is done. So like even the groundwork's getting updated, but it's all in different phases where you don't even notice.
Yeah, so there are a couple of different options if you do want more like the budget friendly.
Yes, there are. I think they're a little bit further, but still walking distance. So you got the Hotel Cheyenne. Which is like that Western town kind of looking one. Yeah,
it's kind of like Woody's and Toy Story kind of themed. So it gives me vibes of like a mix between an Art of Animation and like an All-Star.
Yes.
So you still get some of those benefits of staying at a Disneyland Paris hotel, but it's not going to be as expensive.
No.
A little bit further out still, but you do have that the buses that you can take.
That will drop you off right next to the train station, which is all right where you come in if you're coming for the day.
So super convenient still. And then Santa Fe, Hotel Santa Fe is Cars themed.
Yeah.
And that one, similar type of, structure and level of service and amenities that you can expect there, and dining too. Their dining does look a little bit different than it does for us. So we have one more to talk about, but then we probably need to talk about dining.
I think that's a good idea. Yeah. And the last one, as you said, the seventh one is the Davy Crockett Ranch, which are cabins. So if I'm thinking very like Fort Wilderness cabins, this is off property, a little bit further away. You can't walk, and there's no public transportation. So as like an out of like country person coming, I wouldn't suggest that one. This is more probably for locals coming, maybe bringing their dog and everything like that. This one was recently refurbished though, so completely redone, but a little bit further away than the other ones.
Yeah. And it, before we get into dining, I'm like, we're skipping ahead because I always, talk about that. But there are a few things that I think we should mention just about hotels and booking and things like that. So I would say when you're picking your hotel, weigh time versus convenience. I say this no matter where you are, but especially if you are traveling internationally, think about convenience even more because there is a language barrier.
Yes.
It's not tremendous at Disneyland
I got
Paris. You can definitely, majority of cast members are going to speak English, but, you are a guest in their country. You want to try to be as, kind of accommodating as you can. So I would recommend if you can stay on property, splurge a little bit to do that on this portion of your trip. Remember that packages are going to provide you the best pricing, but you do have predetermined park days. So what that means is when you go to book a Disneyland Paris vacation, you're going to see when you go online or if you work through a travel advisor, we're able to book packages. So that means your accommodations plus your tickets. Whereas with Disney World, Disneyland, you kind of select the number of days you want. So maybe you're like, oh, I'm going to do a rest day. That's not how it works with Disneyland Paris. They predetermine the number of days that you'll have for your park days, along with the number of nights. So if you're staying for 4 nights, you get a 5-day ticket. Majority of the time, it's cheaper to actually purchase it like that than to actually piecemeal it and do, I want 3 days of tickets and I want, 4 nights or 6 nights, whatever it may be. So just something to think about as you are kind of getting into that. And that's something that if you do work through a travel advisor, we work through all of that with you too, to make sure that you have the best options. If you're staying on property, you can take advantage of early park entry.
Yes.
Which, especially if you're not going to do their fast pass for rides like the Crushes Coaster, kind of more of those like e-ticket, really popular rides, it's definitely worth it.
That's what I did, yeah.
Yeah. And we didn't do Premier Access when we were there, their fast pass, and we were able to get on everything, but we did really take advantage of that perk of having early park entry and being there like at the turnstiles when they opened. And then another part just about Disney Village, which I know we're going to get into, but it's a great spot to grab a quick breakfast. You're not going to have the same kind of like grab and goes.
No.
Yeah, at the hotels. No. So there's a Starbucks, there is an Earl Sandwich. So there's different places that you can kind of grab things quickly. There's a McDonald's, I think.
Yep.
Yeah,
they're building a brand new one too.
Yes, yeah. So there's different places that you can kind of grab those quick breakfasts if you do want to in Disney Village before you kind of head into the park.
And that was more of, I think, a cultural thing I didn't realize too. A lot of times, like the French or even European cultures don't really grab and go. You don't see people walking and eating, and they don't really do quick service. They sit down for their meals. And as an American, that's like unheard of. I'm like, no, I need to grab and go and do everything at the same time. So that was nice. I stopped every morning at Earl of Sandwich or the place right across the street. Wait, I don't remember. I always got a croissant and my iced coffee and then went right to the park. Yeah. And I'm like, nope, I'm going to be grabbing and going. So there were that option. Since at the Resort Hotel New York in Sequoia, there was no grab and go. There was no quick service like there is at like the All-Star or anything like that. It was kind of a, wait, where do I go to just get a quick cup of coffee? They do have nicely in all of them. They had the Lavazza coffee in every room. I think it was Lavazza. And they had all like the nice coffee machines and they refilled it every day, bottles of water every day at the Disney resorts, which was really nice. So had my coffee, but then definitely did my little grab and go at Disney Village as I ran into the park.
Yeah. Should we get into dining? Because I think that's that's normally the biggest question that families have.
Yeah.
So dining, it obviously it's going to be different. Like you said, it's a cultural thing. But so whereas when we're planning trips to Disneyland or especially Walt Disney World, dining is such a big part of this. It's not going to be the same over here. So majority of your your table service locations are going to be prefixed or a buffet. And there is a dining plan, but doesn't function exactly the same way. It's very much like, okay, there's these 4 different options. You can have this meal and this meal included.
It's a little more complex, yeah.
Yeah, and it works for some families that, maybe you're going and dining is your priority. I wouldn't say that the food is the same caliber.
No, unfortunately.
Yeah. Some of them you kind of find them and you're like, oh, this was a great find, but majority of the locations is kind of like you're eating to eat. And
it moves very slow, the table service. Like like I said, like European is more like you sit down and you enjoy your meal. But I know if I'm in the parks, I don't want to sit down for 2 hours, especially have a prefix meal. Like, so we did Walt. I believe you did the Walt's restaurant on Main Street, which was cool to look out on Main Street. Yeah. But I was like, oh, this is an experience. Like I am sitting here for a while when I could be on a ride. So it's one of those like, what's more important to you? Exactly.
Yeah. We did Walt's and we also did Bistro Chez Remy. So over in Studios. And same thing, you had that kind of prefixed, so you had several courses. It wasn't super quick, which wasn't a reflection on the service. It's just the culture.
They do not rush you.
Yeah. No. And so it is exactly like you're saying. Like you need to think about what is your priorities while you're there. And if, you're kind of used to the way that we kind of do theme parks here, where it's like, okay, go. You can do a table service in less than an hour.
Yes, 45 minutes, you're in and out.
Yeah, that's just not going to happen there. No. So I normally recommend maybe pick one place that you want to kind of spend. Did, yep. Yeah, and do that. And then for the rest, there are going to be quick service locations that you'll be able to grab some food at. They do have mobile order at certain locations, so you can do that. But there are going to be other locations. Like there is a, can't remember the name of it right now, but I think it might be just Tony's Pizzeria over in Disneyland Paris. But
is that the Mickey shaped pizza?
Yes, it's like a must-do Mickey shaped pizza. There's no mobile order there. Nope. At least there wasn't at that time. So for things like that, just be aware, like, when it opens, you probably want to try to be there for that. Yes. Because there still is, like, even though if it's Mickey shaped, like we're all standing on
I did the Mickey, what is it, filled with with the chocolate inside.
Oh gosh.
Beignet?
Yes, like
yes.
A beignet. But
yeah, but I think it's going to be like a hot beignet, like Tiana's that you get at the other parks. It's not. It was more of a colder beignet, but shaped like Mickey with chocolate inside.
There's a different name for it. Now it's like killing me.
And it's filled with Nutella. As soon as we hit stop record, that's when I'll come to us.
Know.
And there's a good ham and cheese one up there too. The croque monsieur, which was very good. I had one of those every day. But like you said, not really a place known for food or anything like that. And I found that's not my go-to. My go-tos are shows. I don't use maybe we could talk about Premier Access really quick if that's okay.
Yeah.
Because they do their Fast Pass system a little differently over there. So their Fast Pass system is either you could buy per attraction. So if there is one that you want to do, like I know Crush's Coaster is always the top one, you could go onto the app and you could buy that day of and just buy one for, whenever it is. Or there's that kind of unlimited one where you buy one per attraction and you can go on any attraction anytime per that day. And that one you could book in advance and you could book that through you or anything like that.
Yeah, and it's very similar if you have done Premier Pass at Walt Disney World or Disneyland and the kind of our just traditional Lightning Lane where Disney Premier Access 1, you will have a specific return time. And then Premier Access Ultimate is going to be one where you can kind of use it throughout the day. You don't have to have those return times. So it is a little bit more expensive. Pricing does fluctuate, of course, based on that time. But if you take a look, talk through with your travel advisor, they're able to kind of show you what the pricing will be for your days when
if
you're
it's
there.
Worth it for you too, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. Definitely look at like what are your priorities, and then we can kind of give you an idea of this is going to be something that's worth it for you based on what time you're going or whatever it may be.
I know I did like 3 or 4 days, so I didn't get it, but I know with a 1 day, I would definitely want it just so to make sure I could hit those key attractions.
Yeah, and I always say, like, if you are going to this location, you're going to be going to Disneyland Paris, at least do 2 days because you are going to want, like, probably 1 full day in Disneyland, and then maybe at this point, just because of the amount that's kind of being built out in studios or Adventure World at one point, it's that you can kind of almost do like half day there and then head on back to Disneyland.
Finish the rest, yeah.
But it's going to come to the point where I feel like I'm going to say it's a 3 day.
Yep.
So, give me more time in Disney.
Exactly. That's fine. Never going to complain. Speaking of, what is your favorite attraction at Disneyland Paris?
Oh my gosh. Okay. I think it has to be Phantom Manor.
Ah, yes.
Which is like the Haunted Mansion over there. Did I steal yours?
Yes, that's okay. I also love their Tower of Terror.
Oh my gosh, their Tower of Terror is very creepy.
It's very creepy. It's good, the little girl in it speaking in French, it's creepy, yes.
Yeah. It is interesting when you go over there, having done other parks, to then kind of compare what everything is like, across the different theme parks. So if you're a Disney person, it's really cool to get to go to all these different.
See their pirates, where they have sword fighting pirates, which is different.
Yeah.
And then speaking of that, then what is your favorite show at Disneyland Paris? Ooh. I know that's a tough one because they're all good.
Yeah, I know. I feel like I have to say one in each park. So it's Together in Studios.
Yep.
And then Lion King, which I believe is Rhythms of Pride Land.
Yes.
In Disneyland. Yes. My husband was like truly on the edge of his seat.
It was very good.
So good.
I was shocked how good that was because I've seen Festival Lion King many times here, and I'm like, wow, that was excellent. And then I don't know if you got to see, they have Mickey and the Magical Map also.
We didn't see that one.
And then during the summer too, the Alice Return to Wonderland, Alice and the Queen of Hearts Return to Wonderland, which is in their old Lights, Motors Action Theater. So it's a BMX Alice in Wonderland show. So very different, very French. But their shows run a little differently than ours. So their shows are seasonal over there. So they kind of run on like seasons. So the French get a little more vacation time than we do over here. So they'll run on more seasons over there. So like maybe one show might be closed when you're there and another one might be open. So I think it's one of those, be aware that like things aren't going to always be open. It's not a 24/7 kind of thing. Well, they'll run like, okay, Together is now closed for the next 6 weeks. Well, Mickey and the Magical Map is open. So every time that I've been, they kind of have different shows on their rotation.
Yeah. Is it Mickey and the Magician?
Yes, Mickey and the Magician. Okay. Magical Map used to be at Disneyland.
Yeah.
Same show.
Huh. I'm like, I have seen Magical Map.
Same concept. It reminds me of a cruise ship show where it's kind of like a best of, but let's underline it with a story, right? Yeah. Mickey and the Magician.
I know, honestly, I have never heard someone say that they didn't love the shows when they came out.
All good.
They're a different, I love the entertainment here, but you go over to Disneyland Paris and you're like, wow, they really you can see where they're putting a lot of resources into.
Definitely.
And it does draw big crowds. So it does. If this is something that is a must do for you, which I definitely recommend, make sure that you do get there a little early for the shows. I would say at least a half hour before, if
they fill
not
up.
more. And then also if it's something that's a Like, you definitely cannot miss it. There is reserved seating that you can purchase through the app or when you do book.
Yep.
And that will give you the opportunity to kind of make sure you have that seat.
First in. And I would say language barrier things too for the shows. It's usually half French, half English. I think like when together, Woody spoke English and Buzz spoke French. They had a full conversation. You didn't lose any of the points. I don't speak French, but I knew what was happening during the show. So they definitely really make it very accessible because there are so many languages. French isn't the only language. You're in the middle of Europe. So really, like, there's so many different languages being spoken.
Definitely. I didn't feel like the language barrier was that difficult, but like I said, go in kind of having some of the key terms that you know, so like be able to say hello, maybe be able to say the number of people in your
exactly.
party.
Un, deux, trois, done.
Yeah, exactly.
Stop at 3.
Yeah. But there's a lot of really cool things that you get to see there that we don't have over here.
Yes.
Like the seasonal offerings that they have.
Which are all included with your park admission,
Yeah. And so I haven't been able to do any of these because we went in March, which was actually a great time to go because it was very low crowds, early March. But have you been able to do the Halloween or Christmas?
I have not.
Okay. Yeah.
So I want to. I did go for opening night of Tales of Magic, though, their new fireworks show. So I did get to see that one with their drones, and like they do drones like I've never seen before, and like
oh my gosh,
the drones are literally on fire, like shooting like sparks for one of the scenes, and like it was pretty impressive. Yes.
Yeah, their nighttime entertainment is beautiful. Also, their shows are very long.
Yes.
So if you have someone who needs to worry about like standing for that length of time, maybe try to find a place that you can sit. But there really is, they've done a lot in terms of technology. It's because of like the location that they're in too, that you think about Disneyland, we're city locked over there, and here they're in the middle of just farms and beautiful
so they can do a lot of different things.
So what about what's coming soon?
So there's a lot coming soon at Disneyland Paris. I think that's where like the next like I said, the Renaissance is happening. So Adventure World in 2026, they'll be rebranding the park. Along with rebranding the park, you're getting the new Adventure Way. So this park was built very small and kind of had a studio backlot tour. Well, they kind of ripped that whole area out, and there's going to be a whole new area walking up. So we're going to have a new lake on a whole new Frozen world. So we got a whole new Frozen land, the world of Arendelle. Over there, you're going to have some new attractions going on. And then just kind of redone the whole park over there. So the whole park is kind of getting a whole new refresh. Every time that I've been to this park in the past 3 years, they have redone the new entryway. And then now there's a Marvel land over there in that area. And then they also have announced the new Lion King land. So no set date yet, but there's a whole new, kind of looks like Splash Mountain ride system, but with Lion King. And that'll be really cool. So we have Adventure World in 2026, and then in the future, the whole new Lion King land coming, which is the first of its kind. Yeah,
first Lion King attraction ever, I believe.
Yes.
That's a attraction, not a show. So that'd be really cool to see. But having gone the number of times that you've been, do you have any do's and don'ts, anything like that you want to pass along?
I think the best thing I can say is like just don't expect a ton of like new rides or anything like that. Like they definitely like are more focused right now on the shows, so do see all their shows. If you're not a show person, you will be a show person. I am not a show person, and I definitely found like that was my kind of calling over there. And then don't expect if you want to go to Paris afterwards that you're in Paris. Like it's called Disneyland Paris, but it's not like you are not going behind the Eiffel Tower and Disneyland is there. This is about 30 minutes outside the city, so if you are pairing it with a Paris trip, be prepared that it's not there. You can do a day trip out there. It's about a 30-minute train ride, but it's not really just in Paris. It's kind of on the outskirts of Paris out there.
Yeah, I think those are great tips. And the other thing I would say too is if you are going to be booking a vacation package, there's actually excursions to Paris that you can book, some other areas as well. So this is definitely one where even if you've done the Disney parks before and you're a pro over here in the domestic parks, reach out to a travel advisor, or even if you have a friend who's been before, to kind of pick their brain and just get that guidance, because it is very different, and you want to make sure when you're going over to Paris that you're getting to take advantage of everything. Yeah,
because there's a lot to see in that area, and just getting from the airport to the resort and back could be something in itself. So
absolutely, you want to have those plans set.
Yes,
but I think what this means is that we need another Disneyland Paris trip set up.
That's yes. That's all the French I know.
That's it.
Perfect.
I love it.
So if you're ready to have not the average vacation, be sure to reach out to our sponsor, KMV Travel, a travel agency that provides complimentary vacation planning assistance to families of all shapes and sizes to destinations including theme parks, most major cruise lines, all-inclusive destinations, and beyond. Start planning today at kmvtravel.com/Joe. Once again, that's kmvtravel.com/Joe. Link in the description box below. Well, thank you for listening to Average Joe Orlando reporting for KMV Travel. Je m'appelle Joe.
Je m'appelle Kelly.
And we will see you at the parks. Au revoir. Thanks for taking a ride with Average Joe Orlando.
You made it! I knew you would.
Is everyone okay? Hope you still want to open an account.
Say cheese. See you later.
Thanks, everybody. You were brilliant.
At this time, gather up your personal belongings and take your small grubs by their grubby little hands as you exit. Thank you.